MMA Boxing Talk here, coming at you with another video. Just want to talk about the UFC fights this weekend, um, and what to look forward to in the month of April in the UFC. This weekend we got a free card, UFC Fight Night 85. It's going to be in Australia, in Bisping. Um, in the main event, we have two-time former champion, or just once. I'm not sure. He might have been the interim champ. Anyway, Frank Mir was champ at least once in the past. Frank Mir is taking on Mark Hunt. Um, Two big names in the sport, two veterans. I definitely am going to be putting out prediction videos, breakdown prediction videos on that fight and in the co-main event. I got Frank Mir winning this one. He can win this fight in many different ways. Where Mark Hunt, you know what you're getting. Um, if he can't stop you, if he can't kick your ass on the feet, he's probably not going to win. So I'm going to be picking Frank Mir for this one, but I will be putting out prediction videos on that one. And in the main event, or the co-main event, we have Hector Lombard taking on Neil Magny. That also is a good fight. It's an interesting fight. I'll definitely be picking Magny in this one. The height, the reach, um, youth. The age of Neil Magny is much younger. You got to take in consideration that Hector Lombard, a huge PD user in the past, and he hasn't fought in a year, and now with the drug testing the UFC has, he might be a shell of his old self. And Neil Magny, he's on a pretty good win streak from what I remember. He's training at a solid gym, Elevation, Elevation Fight Team or whatever in Colorado. That's with T.J. Dillashaw, Matt Brown, Dwayne Ludwig's the trainer there, or whatever. Well, actually, I don't even know if Dwayne Ludwig actually works at Elevation. He might have his own thing. But regardless, Neil Magny trains with good fighters. I'm going to be picking Neil Magny and Frank Mir to win these. But stay tuned. I'm not sure when. Sometime this week, I'll be putting out prediction videos for those two fights, which is this Saturday. Now, then I think we have about 2 weeks off in between, or a little maybe 3 weeks. April 10th, we have Junior Dos Santos taking on Big Ben Rothwell. Now that's a good fight. Looking forward to that one. Big heavyweight fight. It's a big fight for both guys because Junior Dos Santos is coming off of a TKO loss, so he can't afford to lose two in a row. And Big Ben Rothwell is on a hell of a roll. He's on a hell of a roll. So we'll see what happens in that fight. Um, and then I think it's the next week, April 16th, which is the date of my cousin's stag. But the card starts at 4 o'clock. And that is a pretty friggin' good card. The main event, I am so looking forward to that one. We have the undefeated Habib Nurmagomedov, who actually hasn't fought in 2 years, but his last fight, he beat Rafael Dos Anjos, who is the current 155-pound champion. And he's undefeated. Like I said, 2 years. The 2 year layoff, though, that might hurt him. And he's fighting Tony Ferguson, a very dangerous fighter, a guy that has a lot of tools. Okay, he can submit you, he can finish you. Very creative and very unpredictable. But Khabib's a very tough fight. Khabib should be the favorite, but he's been out so long. That's what makes this fight so interesting. Regardless, both are top 5 fighters at 155. A very stacked division. A division that has a lot of depth. In my opinion, that's the best division in the sport. A lot of good fighters, but a lot of depth as well. And then at the end of the month, the very highly anticipated UFC 197 is taking place April 23rd. Number one pound for pound fighter in the world. My opinion, He's the greatest UFC fighter that ever lived. John Bones Jones is going to be fighting Daniel Cormier. Cormier's got the belt now. We all know what happened there. John Jones never lost his belt. He got stripped. Cormier won the vacant title against Rumble Johnson. Defended it once against Anthony Gustafsson or Alexander Gustafsson. So, I mean, this is a very, very interesting fight. I got John Jones for sure. Like I said, I believe he's the greatest UFC fighter of all time. That's just my opinion, but I believe his resume speaks for itself. And, this guy's not done. This guy is 28 years old. I mean, he's got a lot of fight left in him, and now he's motivated. He's actually dedicated. He's not drinking 3-4 nights a week. He's not smoking pot all the time. He is training like a professional athlete for the first time in his life. And he's arguably the greatest of all time, for starters. So that's a really big fight. You can't miss UFC 197, April 23rd. And that's a stacked card because you got the co-main event, another title fight. The flyweight champion, number 2 pound for pound in the world, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Extremely well-rounded. Just very good at everything. His last fight, Demetrius Johnson, he neutralized John Dodson like I've never seen any fighter, neutralize him in that manner. John Dodson's a knockout guy. Extremely explosive, extreme amount of power. He actually, in his first fight with Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, he dropped him, I think, like 3 times in that fight. And like twice in the first round, Johnson recovered, came back to win a unanimous decision. But then in the rematch, which was last September, Mighty Mouse Johnson, like I said, neutralized, nullified John Dodson, like as if he had no power, as if he had no chance of winning a knockout. He just didn't look dangerous at all, and that's all Mighty Mouse. His footwork, his smarts, just as well-rounded, game. He's fighting. He's going to be defending his title. If he wins this fight, it'll be his 8th title defense, which would be, I think, tied for 3rd most in UFC history with John Jones. But he has a tough challenge. I'm telling you right now, Henry Cejudo is going to. Just the fact that Henry Cejudo is an Olympic-style wrestler, Mighty Mouse has never faced an Olympic-style wrestler. There's one thing about a college wrestler, but an Olympic wrestler and a gold medalist, not to mention, this is something that Mighty Mouse has not faced yet. So I think it's going to be a good test for him. Now, Mighty Mouse might make easy work of Henry Cejudo. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. But at the same time, if Henry Cejudo gives Mighty Mouse some trouble, some problems, some headaches, that wouldn't surprise me either. But that's another really good fight. That's on UFC 197, right before the John Jones Cormier fight, and then before the third fight on that card is a very exciting fight. Anthony Pettis is taking on Edson Barbosa, 2 of the best strikers in the UFC, and more specifically, both guys have phenomenal kicks, head kicks, kicks to the body, spin kicks, heel hook, spinning heel kicks. These guys have quite the striking repertoire. They have a lot of different tools when you're talking about the striking department. And these guys are also 2 top 155ers. It's a great card. So you got, UFC 197 is massive. I cannot wait for that one. Stay tuned for prediction videos, breakdown videos for all those fights. But yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about UFC, at the end of this month and in April. So lots to look forward to, lots in the UFC. Yeah, let me know what fight you guys are most looking forward to. Let me know who you're picking this weekend. Frank Mir, Mark Hunt, Hector Lombard, Neil Magny. And if you like the video, subscribe. That's it for this one. MMA Boxing Talk. Peace.